What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Today is the very first time I have live streamed on my channel. I don't know if anybody's in the chat yet. But that's totally cool. This was very last minute. I invited a couple folks, so we may see a few pop in later today. But the biggest reason I wanted to stream for you folks today was today is actually the 1-year birthday of the Ben Thomas Show. I got a post on my Facebook today that came up and it was like, 1 year ago, you had one video, one subscriber, and 3 channel views. We've come a long way, but I can't do it without you guys, so I wanted to celebrate a little bit today with some coffee, because it's too early in the afternoon, I think, for rums. But let's jump into it. Welcome back. Okay, so I am getting pretty used to this. Zach says my mic is on mute. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Send me a thumbs up. Says everything should be going well here. Again, it's my first time streaming here, so if anybody is watching, please let me know. So, again, thanks to everybody stopping in. I think it's pretty awesome that we're all here. I'm wondering why we can't hear me. Give me 1 second. Can we hear me there? Wow. Look at this guy. Shopping from the bed store. He's telling me here he can't hear me. It's the Oxfather. And of course, when the Oxfather tells you he can't hear you, you stress. He just watched me struggle on live YouTube. You hate to see it. Let's stop in with the chat, see who's all here already. We've got Tyria. Hooray, happy 1 year, Ben. Thank you very much. Couldn't have done it without you guys, especially all the support for sure. Mr. Mom's Collectibles, Ryan in the chat. Happy birthday to the channel. Thank you very much, good sir. I'm excited for you to get to your 1 year. I know you are on some serious track for 1,000, so keep that going. Look at this guy here, collecting weekly Zach. Zach is literally shopping for a bed right now. A little too much information for me, if you ask me, anyways. Let's get this going here. I had some music all queued up. Zach know how to take me off my stride. There we go. We got single songwriter in the chat. Good to see you here, sir. Thank you very much for coming by. Zach says I look nervous, so take a breath. You see, this is the thing you guys don't get a chance to see, right? Normally, I do all my videos pre-recorded. So I get to like fumble over my words, I get to do all that stuff. But the crazy part about this year is that Zach wanted me to actually do my 1000K subscriber dance from bed. Because I'm always in bed. Thankfully not at this time of day, but I gotta say, if you guys want to see it for my next live stream, I will somehow find a way to stream from the bed. I don't know if Sean will be there though. Hard to say. Okay, so like I mentioned to you guys earlier, there may be a few people that stop in. This isn't going to be a super long one, but I haven't had a chance to do a live stream since I actually started getting over that 1,000 subscriber line, and I didn't want to curse myself. I didn't want to be like, yay, 1,000, and then, you know, like 10 subscribers drop off all of a sudden. So we're now well over, like I said, a year ago the channel started at one subscriber, which was me, and 3 channel views. We're now, I think, at 1,265 subscribers, and the channel just hit its first milestone of 250,000 channel views, which is absolutely mind-boggling. So thank you very much. 1 year birthday today. Now there's a couple things that I do want to talk about. So my itinerary for the day is a little bit of that channel news, which you already got. I do want to tell you guys and show you a little bit about what's changed. I've mentioned in a couple other live streams that this is kind of now the recording studio for the Ben Thomas Show. I used to record from the other room, and so I've changed my displays quite a bit. There is a collection tour on my channel, but it's honestly, it's pretty outdated at this point. So I am going to set up a new, room tour at some point on the channel, so stay tuned for that for sure. But let's show you guys what I've been working on here. So previously, this is actually what my setup looked like when I first started streaming quite some time ago. And I apologize, not the right slide. This is actually my recording studio now, but it's the same shelf that I'm using in behind me here. So this one here. So again, wrong slide. Looked very similar in the other room. This is kind of the display in behind me here in the recording studio. But I previously had that Kallax shelf set up in this corner of the Ben Thomas Show kind of room setup down here. And I was having a hard time because I wanted to start getting bigger scales of figures. I had the Venom already. I'd actually bought and sold the Batman Begins figure, but one of the reasons I sold it was because he was measurably taller than my DX12 Batman. And it just didn't fit in the Kallax cubes that I had out there. So I went to IKEA, of course, like a lot of us do, and I started out with the Billy shelves for my next level display. Now, I gotta tell you, I am not a very handy person. I'm just not. And so this was a little bit of a struggle because up till this point I had the lights, similar to the previous slide here, running down the back side of the Kallax. Now these are Philips Hue lights, one of my favorite lights strips of all time. Definitely costly in the, I think, $90 Canadian range, $110 Canadian range. But honestly, in my opinion, worth it. Alvin J, thanks for popping in. Good to see you here. So I measured this space out in the room down here, and I was pretty excited. Breathe, Ben, breathe. You can do it. Hey, it's my very first live stream. I'm talking to myself in this empty room. You hate to see it. Alvin J with a super chat. My very first super chat on the Ben Thomas Show. $4.99. Congrats on 1 year. You, sir, are the man. Thank you very much. That is extremely generous. It's definitely not why I came on today, but it's a cool perk. It's a very cool perk. Anything that gets super chatted to the channel is absolutely going to go back into the channel. But again, extremely generous. Thank you very much. So like I was saying, I'm not very handy, and so I had to take pictures of the ladder and some tools to prove that I did this myself. But the goal for me was there was only one plug in behind these Billy shelves, and I was like, how the heck am I going to get it to actually like fit in behind, have the light strips look really clean? And so I took a drill, went to the Home Depot, I got a drill bit, and I drilled through right up in the top corners. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but right up in the top corners of all these shelves, and ran the light strips from one end to the other. Now on the far right side there's actually a bit of a gap where all my cords go down. You can't see them in these pictures, which is awesome, but what I found was as soon as I ran the lights through the cabinets, when I would go then sit on the couch, the lights were like right in my eyes, like terribly so, because I've been used to them on the back of the cabinet, right? And so I'm like, okay, I go back to Amazon. They've got these like light diffuser bars, but I've got, again, very few tools in the maintenance room here. Very few tools. And so I've got this like little hacksaw, and these diffuser metal bars come basically from Amazon, and I have to go into my maintenance room, put them on a brick of wood, and like saw like crazy to length. I was sweating. There was metal shards everywhere. It was ridiculous. So I finally get those popped in. I rerun the light strips through. Of course, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience with light strips when the tape comes off the strip. So then they're not sticking properly. So then I'm using glue, and like, it was crazy. Not to mention, I'd never spent this much money on shelving units before, and I had already drilled these holes in, but I didn't think that when I drilled the holes in, that with the diffuser bar, it wasn't actually going to line up perfectly with where those holes were. So I had to drill the holes a little bit bigger. There is wood shavings everywhere. It was a mess. But it started to come together. I finally got some doors on. Now, I don't know if you guys have had this experience with... Andre says, happy birthday, Ben. You're the man. It's the channel birthday. It's not my actual birthday. If it was my birthday, I wouldn't be nearly this happy. Let's be honest. I'm turning 36 this year. Super depressing. Collecting weekly with a $9.99 super chat. 1 like equals 1 nut. You'll have to see it. Thank you for the generosity, Mr. Zach, over at Collecting Weekly. I love those guys. I know most of the folks in this chat right now already subscribe to Collecting Weekly, so I don't want to hammer it too hard there. But those guys definitely are the ones that helped me gain my voice in the community. They gave me a platform to jump off of, and I appreciate it for sure. And now, as you guys may have noticed, hopefully in the opening credits, if you didn't go back and check it out, because I just made them for the first time the other day, it's now considered a Tough Nut production over here at the Ben Thomas Show, courtesy of learning it from Collecting Weekly. So thank you very much. That's very, very generous of you guys. I appreciate it. Andre. It says, Collecting Weekly says, it wouldn't let me send without spacing nut out. Nobody wants a space nut. Nobody does. Okay, so anyways, I don't know if you guys have had this experience with IKEA, where you go to IKEA and you're all excited because you're like, I'm going to buy a bunch of cool stuff. And then you get there and they are out of stock. Since the pandemic, it's been terrible. At least here in Alberta, Canada, terrible stock. So there's actually an Edmonton IKEA, which is about 3.5 hours drive. I drive all the way to Edmonton one fateful day to get these glass doors. Okay, get all the way there, go to the right SKU spot, pick them up, bring them back. So 6 hours of driving for these doors. I'm all excited. I tell Shauna I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to set up my display cabinet, and I get down, I open the first box, and they're fully wood doors. They had been put in the wrong section of the store, apparently. So I had driven six freaking hours for these doors and couldn't put them up. They weren't glass, couldn't see through them. So notably, obviously, I was pretty upset. Thankfully, I wasn't live streaming at that point, because I'm sure I said some not pleasant words. Took them back to the Calgary IKEA the next day, got my money back at least. 2 days later, I drive back to Edmonton, because again, this is the only place that has these doors available at this point. Get the doors, get them home, get them on. But then for about 4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe, I didn't have the top glass ones, as you can see. So on the left side, no glass doors. On the right side, a little bit of glass doors. So ultimately, started to come together. Like I mentioned, the Philips light strips are by far, in my opinion, an amazing investment. You can do any color on the spectrum. They look really good. They connect all Bluetooth through my phone, so I can control them really to any color or hue that I want to. It's pretty cool, so I definitely recommend it there for sure. But that middle picture is the picture I initially intended to show you guys. That was my original setup before I started anything. And I have, my cross stitches up top. I don't know if you guys know it. My grandma hobby is cross stitching. I don't know if I've told many people. So the Heath Ledger Joker and the Grogu, as well as the colorful Stormtrooper, still some of my favorite cross stitches that I have. But this was the amount of figures I really had before I started streaming all that much. And then since then, I'm now getting close with my pre-orders, which I'm going to cover there shortly. I'm at about 30 or 35 figures now. So it's gone up quite a lot. So it's pretty exciting. But yeah, I hadn't shared this with many people other than some of my close friends. So it actually ultimately ended up turning out looking pretty good, in my opinion, for somebody who is not very handy. And we have a special guest in the house. Let's bring him in. Mr.
Hello
Will
there.
Foxification.
What did I miss?
coming in clutch. Coming in with, I think I only gave you about 4 minutes of heads up notice to join. So
Dude.
Thank you for joining, good sir.
Dude, no problem at all. Happy to come through, Ben. I was cleaning my house, actually, and I was preparing to set up for my Shang-Chi review, and I got a message from a group chat, and I was like, Ben needs me, and I dropped everything I was doing, and I'm here, bro. So happy to be here, man. That collection looks beautiful. That looks absolutely stuff. Is this the updated one? Because I remember you told me you were updating it.
This is the updated one, so that's what you'd missed. I was just kind of showing some of the slides that I had here from kind of what it looked like previously. So in the center picture there, Will, that was my first display before I really started streaming all that much, and then kind of what it's turned into since then. So, but I wanted to stream really quickly today because I was like, okay, Lael's show ended earlier, so I didn't want to overlap him. I know your show is coming up later this afternoon, and I didn't want to overlap you, so I was like, I had like a very small window of time. Today's the channel's birthday. I got a Facebook notification this morning that said 1 year ago I had 1 subscriber, which was me, and 3 channel views. And now we're, after your live stream a couple weeks ago with you there, good sir, I'm at 1265.
Dude, you were just at 1,000, like,
I know.
Yeah, like a couple weeks ago.
And the channel hit the milestone of 250,000 channel views, which is mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
You get the applause, Ben.
Hey, there you go.
You get the applause. Dude, congrats on that, man. Because you were at 1,000, 3 weeks ago. I remember you hit it on the show. And then now you're at 1,200. That dude, soon on the way to 1,300.
Yes, sir. How much time do I have until your show starts, by the way? Because with the time changes and everything.
It's about 2 hours. 2 hours,
Okay.
Yeah. I probably can't say 2 hours because I got to prepare for it. But I will be here as long as I can be. And yeah, man, happy to support. But yeah, dude, so happy for you. That's awesome, dude.
That's awesome. Mark P in the chat. Yeah, Ben, congrats on 1 year. Bigger and better things for 2 years. I will get into that because I've got some plans for the second year for sure. Wall of Collectibles, single songwriter. Got some champions in the chat here. You know, you love to see these guys, right?
That's true.
So, Alvin J with another $9.99. He's already super chatted me today. What a guy. Thank you very much for the generosity. You guys are going to make me blush. I'm like not on my game today, Will, because I did not intend to stream today. Honestly, I was like, I put a Minecraft video out. So I've been working on my Minecraft world for like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I started it back on the PlayStation 3. It kind of, generated into the PS4 and now the PS5 world. Well, now PS5, it's got this really cool, like, you can record and broadcast your gameplay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna, put it on the channel, right? Well, when you stream directly from your PS5 over to YouTube, it puts it right in your studio. So you can't do any editing on it. You can't really add your own music. You can't, add any voiceover or anything. So I struggled for like 3 hours this morning trying to figure out how I could add any music or anything to it. I finally gave up and just posted it with YouTube standard music.
I guess it could, Ben, does it let you download it and then pull it into like your editing software or no?
So you have to download it from Google, but Google doesn't let you pick specific videos. You have to download your entire library of YouTube videos, which it said it was 195 gigabytes. And I just bought this computer like a couple months ago for streaming.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to fill it up with like all my already existing content just to edit a Minecraft video that like maybe 30 people are going to watch, right? I mean, like I have no idea. Like it's very niche. It's a very niche and that's not really what my channel's about. So,
well, I mean, at the end of the day too, one thing you could do, I know OBS is something a lot of people use. I used that when I started out. OBS is great because it lets you like run your software through like the PlayStation and then you can have your camera and all this other stuff set up if you want. But you got to have a strong computer because eventually my laptop was like, I can't handle it. And it would stream it and it would just, fall apart.
For sure. Well, and this is the original computer that I worked with. So this MacBook on the left, I had this computer back in the university days. And when I got it, I went into Best Buy, right? And the Best Buy guy, they're always trying to sell you a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I say, look, I'm getting this for school. It's for university. I'm in psychology. I just need to be able to bring it with me where I go. And he's like, well, you should get a desktop and this laptop because at best, this laptop is only going to last 3 to 5 years. Well, that was back in 2009. This thing is still going. This thing carried me through 6 months of my channel birth. It's where I did all my streaming from up to that point. And like it was pretty ghetto. So I had to do some like spring cleaning, which is what I show here on the right. And I mean, I know we've all had these days where it's like you're pulling out boxes and all this stuff. And part of the reason that I wanted to organize, and I'm going to get into it later, is that DeLorean box that's coming.
Yeah. There's some QC issues with some of those. Did you see that?
Oh, I know.
I got to talk about that on my show too. But someone sent
hurts.
it to me actually, and I saw that, and I was thinking, oh wow, that is a problem. So it looks like it anyway. I don't know. From what a few people have told me, a lot of people were happy, some people are not. So I think you'll be all right though.
Now I'm definitely not going to get rid of the box anytime soon
No.
if there's possible QC issues. But the thing is, like, the size of a mini fridge or bigger, right? So I was trying to clear out my space to get it all ready. But this is previously kind of what the setup used to look like before, before this room was set up.
That's clean though. It looks like an IKEA like furniture store display or something. You know what I mean? Like they would show when you walk through. That's what that looks like.
It's so funny because it was literally like a side table with another side table stacked on top of each other. And then when I had the broken laptop before I bought the iMac, the laptop was then stacked on a couple of empty shipper boxes. It was super ghetto, right? And you know, for the longest time I was streaming with like guys like you and Lael and Collecting Weekly and all these channels that had like this really well established, you know, viewer base. And here I am, like the most ghetto setup on the other side of the screen. I was so happy nobody could ever see. But we had a gym in the room that I'm in here now. And this was kind of during the COVID days, right? Where everybody was buying the gym equipment. And Shauna had gone to Costco and bought this massive elliptical with her tax return 2 years ago. And I said to her, I was like, are you sure, you want to put that in the basement? Like, it's 1,000 pounds. It's going to take so much effort to get it down there. And the ceiling in here is only 8 feet. So like when you're standing on elliptical, you're going to have about like that much headroom, right? She's like, no, 100%. Like she's the type of girl, like you cannot tell her differently. If you try,
that just is how it's going to be. Yeah.
If you try to say like you can't do it or you shouldn't do it, she will do it 110% more. Okay. And so we get this elliptical. We use it probably, I'm not kidding, like 3 times in a year and a half because we ended up joining the Crossfield gym where I live. So here it sat, and here's this beautiful room that I can't use. So that's why I was streaming out in front of my TV out in the other room. I finally say to her like, hey, Costco, it's got a pretty decent return rate. You know, like maybe you should call and see if you can get your money back. Put it towards something else, right? She calls Costco. They're like, actually, yes, you can bring it back. No receipt. Doesn't matter as long as it's in good condition. Yeah, just bring it back. So we spent an afternoon in the middle of winter taking this bad boy apart. Not fun. I was like covered in grease. It was crazy.
Well, at least you got it returned. I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
Well, so we get it back though to the Costco, and I'm like, I'm gonna Hulk the main body of it from like the car to the door, and as I'm walking through this cold parking lot, it cracks in my hand, and I'm like, ah, shit, like here we go, like there's no way they're gonna take this back now, and we've already deconstructed it, like we're screwed, right? Get it in. They don't even look at it. They just look at the trolley. They're like, yep, no problem. Here's your $900.
Damn, that's Costco for the win, dude.
It was amazing. It was literally amazing. And so she got her money back. I got this recording room. And this is kind of what it's now become. So where I'm sitting here, I took the closet doors off my closet and added a couple of shelves. There's now another 4th shelf down below, but to display some of the art boxes that I've got, because otherwise they just sit in your mechanical room all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, one thing I want to say, Ben, is wait until you start getting statues, because the DeLorean box will seem like nothing. Because when you start getting statues like Sauron and Baldur and Kratos and stuff like that, the boxes, 2 boxes sometimes, pretty massive. So
what do you do with yours then? Like where do you
a lot of mine will, like I have an attic, and basically what I can do is I take all the accessories out because I don't want anything up in the attic in the temperatures, right? So I keep the extra swap out parts in my room, and then what I do is I put the other boxes actually upstairs, like the shipper boxes and stuff up in the attic. It's like a, one of those where you pull it down and there's like a staircase, whatever. It's like that. So some of the boxes are too big to even fit in that. So we have a garage and I put them in that and I stack them up nice and neat. But yeah, man, a lot of people use storage and stuff like that. Like they rent a separate storage facility and then store their boxes that way. I've not gone to that length yet, thankfully. But if you start getting into statues, that could be a reality for you.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can justify getting into statues. Because I've already got so much in the 1/6 scale coming to me this year that I'm like, I don't know
Well,
if
you
I
just
could
keep
even.
it mild. You know, I have like 10 to 12 statues, so that's about my. I'll top out at like 15. That's about where I can top out. Yeah.
I think it comes down to having the right character too, right? Like
Right.
I always loved. I think it was your J&D Joker statue. Was that the one that he's sitting? Was it J&D?
So I did have it was a Queen Studios, but I did have
Studios,
J&D. I was going to get that at one point, and I had the Queen Studios Joker, and now I have the Queen Studios quarter scale Joker. That one right behind me, right there.
So nice.
So yeah, that one's super super nice. Yeah, it's really great. But statues can be, dude. I love my statues. That's all I'll say, and I love my 1/6 too. I mean, I think I have a little under maybe 40 1/6 total right now, and then I have about 10 to 12 statues. So at the end of it, I'm probably gonna have 65 to 70 1/6, and I'm gonna have like 15 statues. So it's pretty good. I think you'll probably have something similar. No statues, but
I mean,
1/6.
you're still under that 100.
Yeah,
six
I don't think I
scales.
could ever have 100 personally with the space I have and budget. Yeah, no.
I think so. I'm gonna end up doing that, like the big display that you saw from the previous slides. Let's see here. This
I'm just
gonna
waiting
end
on Magicase. So
I'm gonna end up doing this behind me here at some point and replacing the Calaxes. And then I've got 2 more walls in the other room that I can do them as well. So I think my tap out, if I want to keep it at 1 figure per square, is
Yeah.
about 140 6 scale. Like that's
That's a
my
lot of figures, though,
It's
bro.
my absolute top out. But yeah, like I mean, it is. I'm only at the 35 range right now with everything that I've got coming in. So I've got like a lot of years, a lot of room to grow, a lot of time
Right.
to save. And the cool thing about these shelves is they do transform a little bit, right? So if I did get a statue at some point that's a little bit, bigger scale, I can make it work.
And
so.
the one thing, Ben, I would caution you, I'm sure you're probably aware of this, is we all try to do this when we have an open space. We're like, I gotta fill it. I gotta get something for it. I think it's tempting, but I think for me, it's at least important to be like, okay, I got space to fill, but I got time to fill it. So I'm gonna fill it with my beloved characters over time and not rush to get anything to fill a spot. Because then eventually something else is gonna come out. You're like, damn, I filled that spot. Now I gotta sell that thing to make space for this what I really want. So
Well,
that's what
what I didn't anticipate was having the blank spaces on the bottom, but part of it's because like I don't like looking at 6 scale figures like
Right.
at the floor level. It's not too bad if you're sitting on kind of a lower couch, but that's why I've got some cross stitches in there. I've got some art boxes in there for now. Like,
Yeah.
it will slowly transform over
will.
time, I'm sure, but it's cool. But you're right. Like there was a period of time where I almost didn't want to share the photos because I didn't have full displays yet, and it's like, yeah, but once it's full, then I'm gonna have to figure out what to do next, right? So
That's true. That's true.
who do we got here? We got Niculio, the great and powerful. Happy anniversary, Ben. Love your videos, onward and upwards. Some of the nicest comments from some of these folks. Knock on wood, hardcore. I have not had any major trolls since I started my channel. Absolutely every person who has ever messaged me on the channel has been super kind and graceful. Like not one single person. And so I'm expecting one of these days somebody's going to be like, your channel is terrible, your videos are the worst, like never make another one ever again.
It will happen eventually,
It'll
yeah.
happen eventually.
Yeah.
But for everybody that showed up today and just constantly gives great feedback, I appreciate it. And if there's ever something that you guys are like, okay, I'm sick of that song in the background now, or I'm sick of anything, like, I would love to hear it. Because again, 1 year, I did not expect to be this far along. I used to watch your channel, Will, just as like a fan. Long before I even thought about doing a channel myself. So pretty cool to have you here, good sir, for sure. Just another quick look at this room now specifically. So as I said, this is kind of the closet. There is one more shelf down below. Don't mind the very pink chair. It's one of our kitchen chairs. So I'm looking at getting like a cool like Batman gaming chair or something that's badass, right? Because I don't know about you, but like when you collect or when I collect, there's so much money that goes into our displays and our figures that I'm like, okay, I'm really cheap in other places.
Right.
And a desk chair is like the most expensive, outrageously expensive thing that I've looked for in a while. And Shauna's like, well, just bite the bullet. Like, go to Staples or one of those places, just get yourself a desk chair. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, So I go, I get in there, I look at these bad boys, and it's like $400 for like the most aggressively ugly chair I've seen in a while. And I'm like, who pays $400 for that? A, and B, I'm like, that's like a figure and a half right there for me. I'm like, I don't know. So I've been stealing Shauna's velvet pink chairs with beading and sitting on pillows.
That still looks pretty classy, bro. And I like that desk. I will say, Ben, one thing I would, encourage you to look at would be Secret Lab. I have a Secret Lab chair, and it's great. I did pay $670 shipped for it. However, it is a great chair, and I love it. It's Attack on Titan, which is one of my favorite animes that I watch. So, and a new episode just came out the other day, actually, and I loved it. It's a great show, but they have so many other ones: Game of Thrones, Batman, Superman, any number of things. And I really like them, and they're pretty affordable. You probably spend like $5. A lot of times they'll be discounted too. You might spend like $500 or $600. This was a pre-order item, so that's why I had to pay that much. But
I'm actually really happy you confirmed that, because that's the company that I was looking at for the Dark Knight chair that I want.
That's a great chair. Yep, I almost got that one too. Yeah, but Attack on Titan, I liked the color scheme of it. I was like, this is really
100%.
dope. So yeah, I really got it. Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad it's worth it, because as I said, $400 for an ugly ass Staples chair, or $625 or $700 for a Batman chair. I'm like, that seems worth it.
Yep.
And Shiny, thank you for popping my trolling cherry. I appreciate it. Your channel is terrible. Your videos are the worst. Never make another one again. Thank you very much. It's all I needed to hear. I'm out. That's it. That's that's the last of it. So, Shiny is awesome. He's typically in the what's it called? Shane from One Figure Focuses chats. I see him a lot over there. So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
And Big Dog Pound here. Yeah, so I will be getting a new chair soon, guys, but stay tuned. So the other thing I wanted to talk about with the chat today was my feelings on this. I didn't expect to necessarily have somebody else in the stream with me, so I don't want to get you too far into it, because I don't want to spoil your show later, Will.
Yeah.
But I've got this fully paid off now.
Okay.
I was on the fence, because I was able to either pay for the rest of my 1/6 kit Joker 2-pack rooted the other day, or I could pay this guy off. And I was talking to Marco from 1/6 Fix. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was about to get into bed, and I'm like, buddy, like, I need some assistance. What do you think I should do? Should I just pay off the DeLorean? Hopefully I get it a little sooner, because I mean, I don't know when I'm going to get it from Kit, or just wait and pay Kit first. And he's like, well, if it helps, Kit kind of told me, like, we're still not sure when everybody's going to get theirs, so you probably have like a good couple weeks or a month. So I'd buy this. So I lock it in, pay it off. And as you know, for the last week, it's been absolutely nothing but like challenges and QC issues that are coming out of the woodwork.
Right.
And now I'm kind of nervous, because I live in Canada. I'm going to 100% end up having to pay customs fees on this bad boy. Like 100%. And if I pay the shipping, pay the customs, and pay the vehicle, this is getting close to like $1,200 or $1,300 Canadian for me at this point. And if I get it all the way here and I pull it out of the box and one of the wheels is broken, like, I have no idea what I'm even gonna do. Like, go through all the trouble of sending it back to Sideshow. I don't know if they would pay my customs back for me, or if I'm gonna have to repay it if they send another one. So I'm feeling a little bit worked up. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit anxious.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that?
I totally get that, Ben. It's understandable, bro, especially with the DeLorean. Like I said, seeing the QC issues that people are posting here and there. I will say, it sounds like you got it from Sideshow, right? You got it.
Yeah,
and so
Sideshow.
that is usually beneficial. I think Sideshow usually takes care of people pretty well. I, for the most part, buy mostly from them nowadays when it comes to hot toys. When it comes to hot toys, I love buying from Sideshow. Yes, you pay a little bit more because tax, in your case, custom fees, shipping, whatever, but that's security, bro. They pretty much always take care of you. So I think at the end of the day, I wouldn't worry too much, because this could be applied to anything in life, right? We all do this. I do it. You do it. We all do it. We try to worry about the future before anything's actually happened yet. And until it actually arrives on your doorstep and you have a QC issue, we'll think positively and assume you're not going to have that. But, you know, you also have to be prepared, I guess, for the worst. But I will say unlikely, because I've seen also a lot of happy customers too. But I've also seen maybe 10 to, I don't know, 15% that are just like, oh, QC issues. But I did see a video of a guy explaining how to pull out the wheels properly, so when you get into hover mode, you don't snap it. And that was a really good video. And he explained, he's like, here's what people might be doing, I think. And this is why it's breaking it, because there's like a hinge and then it breaks supposedly. But I think you're going to be fine, Ben. I just think at the end of the day, I'm glad that you're getting this DeLorean because you clearly love it. You're a big Back to the Future fan. I've not seen 2 and 3. I've only seen 1, so I need to get on that. I'm gonna watch it with Kiko.
You have to watch.
When I go to Tennessee, I'm gonna watch it with Kiko. Yeah, yeah. He told me we were gonna watch it.
You need to do like an after stream party to like discuss what your thoughts are on a flying DeLorean. It's very.
And that's actually not this coming week, but the following week. So maybe we will. Yeah, I'm gonna be there pretty soon. So. Yeah, I'm excited about that. But nonetheless, Ben, I'm excited for you to get this, dude. I think ultimately it's going to be great. I had a situation similar to this, though, before. It was the J&D Joker, which you brought up earlier. Mm-hmm. They kept arriving with broken legs or messed up shoulders because of the weak magnets and the QC issues. So I canceled mine because I was like, you know what? I don't want to take that risk. I just didn't really want to do it. And, it just wasn't something I wanted to do. But in your case with Sideshow, I feel like you have much more security. So I'd say let's play it out, and then Sideshow will take care of you if not. And they'll probably, if there's an issue, I'm sure they would take care. Like, it's not your fault that something arrived broken. So they'll be able to recognize that and say, okay, ship it back to us. We'll take care of you. And they probably take care of any fees, I would assume.
100%. Sorry to interrupt you there, Will. We have another special guest in the back room here, who's demanding to be let in. So
a diva.
We better get to it. Without further ado,
Jesus,
Mr. Zach, the Oxfather.
I'm not gonna go visit Ben in Canada. He's gonna leave me in the fucking back room.
I know he is. He's gonna leave you at the airport.
I was here for like 7 minutes. Like, wow.
For the record, I
rushed home from the bed store for this to be treated like in this manner.
You hate to see it. And you know how much I love beds. So honestly, I appreciate it.
Dude, we got a nice bed too.
Did you?
Oh my gosh. It was so expensive.
Yeah.
Was it is it like a Tempur-Pedic or something, Zach?
It's like one of those beds that has the base where you could like pick up the head and the legs. And it has like this mode that takes a lot of pressure off your back. Nice. So I've worked with people that are disabled, so I'm always lifting them, and I have a bad back for it. But I will be honest, if I may speak on this, Ben, this is a travesty. This is
there we
go.
Will,
you're a very positive guy. And I love you, but that's a terrible take. This is unacceptable. This is absolutely unacceptable. I thought Baby Yoda Gate was bad. This is so much worse. I know people that have transformed theirs properly, which, by the way, the instructions aren't very detailed at all. It's like one sentence, and then in the other part of the instructions, it doesn't mention it mentions like at different areas that are fragile. It doesn't mention the wheels as being one of those areas. I maintain that for $825, even if there is a small amount of user error, the piece shouldn't just break, right? If it was that sensitive of a part, frankly, it's also an incredibly integral part. This should have been made of die-cast. In my opinion, and we're going to get into this more Tuesday, because we have so many people have been sending us screenshots. This wonderful guy, Max, that I just spoke with, sent me a ton of other people that have had issues with the lights, with the chairs, with glue, many people with the wheels. I think what needs to be done, and I don't know how possible it will be, but Sideshow and Hot Toys need to recall this, make it right. If it takes a year, it takes 6 months, takes 3 months, whatever. They need to recall it at their own expense, make it right, make them die cast, make it durable. Because at this point, Sideshow's only sent out a very small batch. And like Ben said, some of them are going to go to Canada, some of them are going to go outside of the United States. It's just not going to be a good situation. Now, I've heard from people that have said they've been getting offers of like $60 to $100 gift card by Sideshow to keep the product as is. But I tell you, even if yours doesn't have this issue now, or just has a little bit of a stress mark, it's only going to get worse. Fixing it with epoxy or JBJ weld, you're going to make that area stronger, and it's going to be much stronger than the surrounding plastic. So even if you have a crack that you're fixing, you're putting the other parts of the plastic at risk. Honestly, I think this is terrible. There's some people that have, I think they've probably damaged theirs because they didn't read the instructions, but I think most people that are being very careful now that they're aware of this and they're still having issues, I think it's terrible. I question how much Hot Toys tested this. They announced it and released it, I think within a year. To me, this is this is no good. I've seen so many random issues that, you know, I wouldn't accept on a $100 collectible, let alone an $825 collectible. And Ben, I've never personally heard of Sideshow refunding customs charges, so
Yeah.
I don't know how much custom charges are for you, but I wouldn't count on them refunding those to you.
On a standard figure, like a standard 6-scale figure for me, it's usually about $35 to $40. So
Yeah,
that's at
and
a
I don't-
$300 value. They're going to put this at a $1,000 value. I bet it's close to 70 or 80 bucks.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't really yeah, it's bad. It's honestly bad because, you know, because you're in the position where you've already paid it off, right? Or you've paid off most of it.
Yeah, I just haven't paid the shipping yet. So I'm at that stage with the site that it's like you'll
Yeah.
still owe the shipping when it's ready to go.
And there's
but-
there's a part of me that's wondering, because I feel like I hadn't seen a lot of these issues until the American collector started getting them. So I don't know if while they were in transit, you know, something happened to the plastic or whatnot. But well, I don't think I heard any of the overseas collectors that had these issues, right? It seems to be just the American ones.
Not really, yeah. Mostly just the American. And it's interesting, Zach, because you raise really fair points. But I've also seen a lot of posts too where people were like, "Oh, I'm happy and I didn't have any QC issues." And that's kind of where my stance comes into play. Like Costa, for example, I forget his channel name. Costa, you know Costa. He builds
Mike
like his
Costa.
custom.
Pop
yeah,
culture
Mike Costa.
living room.
Yeah, the pop culture living room. He got his, and he was like, "Yeah, I love it. Like no QC issues, everything's good." And I know Doc Smizzle, something wasn't working with his Hue plugin or
Yeah,
something.
I think that's just the way the
Right,
circuit's designed.
but I think that was fine. But other
huge.
than that, I think supposedly his was fine also. So I think that's where my kind of trepidation or hesitancy comes in to say it's an outright failure.
The thing is,
Because-
though, it looks fine now, and then I think the Hot Toys
Fair.
or Sideshow rather guarantees them for 30 days. You go to put it in flight mode, and it cracks. Or,
Right.
well, it's a slight, stress mark now, but I mean, it's a snowball. It just
Sure.
this reminds me of the Ironmonger by Hot Toys. Nowadays, when you buy them used, which that's the only way you can get them, I don't think I've ever seen a used one that didn't have the cracked hips, right? Because it's just so much weights on those little sockets, they tend to crack. But the thing is, I feel like these are failing catastrophically way too quickly, right?
Well,
I think
and
it's
if
going to be a
it's-
situation where if you find one that doesn't have a crack, like a year from now, I think it'd be very rare. It's almost like I think it's MMS 155, the original Batman Begins Batmobile, or Batman rather. The plastic they used for the ankles, those would crack really bad. Same with like the Toby black and red suits. And nowadays you almost can't find them with ankles that are intact. Same with Zod.
Yeah.
So I think down the line, like if people are having this much problems, weeks, days after they get them in hand, I struggle to really think like how viable this would be as a collectible. I mean, if I'm spending $800, I want to at least get like 4 or 5 years.
Do you guys know of any Hot
Easy,
Toys that have ever
if not
been
more.
recalled?
Only the Iron Man head sculpt. That was
Yeah,
it.
and it was like a
Just
soft
that Tony
recall.
Stank, yeah.
Yeah,
That's fair.
right.
Yeah. And one thing also, Ben, I assume Sideshow would pay your shipping back,
I think
but
so.
I also know that there has been a time, I think it was more like I didn't like something that was with it, or like maybe I had articulated and it broke. I want to say they asked me to cover it back, and they had like specific requirements, like has to be insured, has to, whatever. I'm not saying that that's the case now, but I mean, again, you might have to also think, because PayPal no longer requires that vendors cover your return shipping. I'm in a situation now, I'm trying to return something to China, and it's almost like $100 to ship it,
Yep.
and the product was $108. So it's like, I'm doing all this to get $8 back. It's not really worth my time. So I think Will's right. Don't get too worked up now, but I think it's certainly something to consider, where you might have to call Sideshow and say, hey, if I get this and it's broken, will you refund my customs fees? Will you make it right? If I need to exchange 4 or 5 of them to get one that doesn't have these issues, like, is that something you're willing to do?
For sure.
Because it's bad.
That's fair.
It's
To be
absolutely
proactive about it. Yeah. That's
Well,
fair.
and I don't like. I mean, I think the thing for me is that now I feel like I have to unbox it on camera, just
Yeah.
in case, right? Because if it breaks in my hands as I'm doing it, holy cow! Like I want to be able to prove it that it's literally the first time it's coming out, and all of the things. Now I know obviously Sideshow, they have usually a pretty good level of trust for the most part, So I kind of agree with both of you. I like your positive take, Will, because for somebody like myself who is like as excited as I am, it helps to know that there is still a community of folks out there who have got it, and has been fine. I think that's the way it goes when it comes to QC, right? I mean, I once said publicly that X06 had a lot of QC issues, and I ended up hearing from the developer on that very specifically, because he was like, well, how many, and I was like, well, there's at least between 4 and 10, and he was like, well, that's not a lot, right? But if you've seen 10 DeLorean posts out there that have these issues, well, then yeah, that starts to kind of feel like a lot, even if there's been several thousand made as it is, right? And so I'll want to do this, I think, either live or at least pre-recorded, because I was kind of excited I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't know if you guys have had the experience now that you're content creators, at least for me. I used to buy a hot toy and like sit down with like a rum and coke and some Canadian green and just like relax and enjoy the process and not feel like it needed to be for anybody or anything. And now I'm like, oh, like that could be content, so it ends up kind of waiting, and I feel like I don't almost enjoy the process as much as I like once had. So I've been trying to get myself out of that mindset to be like, if I'm going to enjoy it, it should be for me. I bought it for me.
Yeah.
And I'll share it with the community kind of when I get the chance. And so my plan with the DeLorean was to go back to that previous Ben stage and just totally just
Ben
like
10.
soak it in, right? And now I kind of feel like I have to record it just in case. So, but we'll see. A couple people are asking what some of the challenges are. So there's
I
been
have photos if you want me to pull some up, Ben.
yeah, if you got them. I don't know how to share them very easily. Again, very first time.
can-
By the way,
yeah,
you
I
tripped
got
me at. I don't know if you were in the chat yet, Will, but when
Yeah.
the stream started, Zach
fucking
was
with you.
like,
was
"We
like,
can't
your
hear
mouth
you.
is moving, but
Your mouth is muted." I'm like,
was
"Really?"
like,
I'm like,
"What?"
"Everything seems good. I did all my mic checks like 40 minutes early." I sat here at the computer waiting for the countdown because I wasn't sure if when you like set the time for the countdown, if once it hits 0, it immediately starts live streaming.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be like sitting here like, adjusting my hat or like doing something silly off camera while I'm like live streaming for these folks. So
Yeah.
I sat here for 40 minutes like in ready state. But how do I share?
Yeah, hang on. So we these are from Max King. I've been talking to him because he had issues with his, and he was like, if you guys are going to talk about it, like some channels, like this is important, we all should be talking about this. I totally agree.
He sent it to me also.
Yeah, he sent me some different photos,
That's interesting.
and yeah, so here we go. So Ben, on the bottom it'll have a thank you. Yeah, so people have had issues with different parts having glue on them, different parts being sort of unglued, which obviously we know Hot Toys doesn't necessarily have the best glue. Different people having these stress marks in the axles. At first they thought they were fine, and then they kind of checked it over and seen this. Different glue issues, parts that are unplugging already, brand new out of the box. Issues with the struts. Again, I mean, this is $825. This should not be happening. More issues, more collectors that are having issues with things that are coming unglued, things that are pieces that are scratched from production. Again, different stress marks that are already starting to show up. Wheels that aren't, the lights aren't working or only working on some of them. This is a nice piece, don't get me wrong. I think it's a beautiful thing that they've done here, but it almost makes you wonder, like, how much did they test this mechanism? It's almost like, when you buy a keyboard, right? Like the keyboards that I buy, like every switch is guaranteed for like 1 million activations, right? Like you could, in theory, press the switch 1 million times and it should still work. With when you buy TVs, like this TV is rated for this many hours of use. 3D printers also. It almost makes you wonder, like, this is a design of this model to be able to transform between 1 and 2. I mean, how many times do they expect people to do it, and how many times is the mechanism guaranteed for? Because it seems like people are doing it once and having issues, and the instructions aren't particularly helpful in that regard. In fact, I can pull them up right now if you want, Ben, because it's bad. They're very like, just do this. There's no like, well, make sure you do this or do it specifically like this.
Will, you weren't
terrible.
going to get this, I assume, eh? Because you're not a huge Back to the Future fan.
And it pisses
Right.
me off because, you know, Ben, like at this point, you've bought like 2 or 3 other figures to go with this, so it's like you're
I
not
have.
Yeah,
only
you're fucked.
you're not only $800 in for the DeLorean, it's like you're also like, you know, many more dollars in for the.
So, and as shitty as this sounds, Zach, we might be in a position where you have to do this, right? As $825 piece, this is unfortunate because this is one of the marketed sort of gimmicks, right? The wheels and the hover mode and stuff. Maybe you just don't put this boy in hover mode. Like, it's kind of like, you know how,
mean-
like, with skin tight suits, you know what I mean? Like with Black Panther, they show all these poses. I'm not posing my Black Panther with that skin tight suit with his arms bent. It's not really that much different, except this is way more expensive. So it's unfortunate, but I think it might just be an unfortunate reality of the situation. Like, Hot Toys should have made it die-cast. They didn't. So people, I guess, just have to decide whether they want to take the risk and roll the dice or not. But it's a fuck up, no doubt about it. I mean,
That's terrible. I get what you're
but-
saying, but that's terrible.
but you know what I mean, though? But like, because we accept it for figures too. We accept that sort of those limitations, even though we know they're actually there. But you know, because like I just got Shang-Chi in and I got swappable forearms, like, and that's great. I can bend them and do whatever. But if I leave him bent like that, he's gonna damage. And you know, even the
Yeah.
flight poles, for example, like I could put him in stuff like that. Yeah, it has that feature. And we also accept the batteries. The batteries are shit. Yeah, they have light up features, but they're gonna light up for 5 minutes and stop working.
yeah.
So
Well, they're using
you know what I
the
mean?
glue. It's the glue for me. The Hot Toys glue is
right, the
notorious.
glue.
For
I say
failing.
like we accept a lot of like features that are there that we really are not, like the lightsaber arms. They're a pain in the ass to use.
Yeah.
Like, so we accept a lot of features, but this is a pretty important feature. I do agree with that. But
Yeah, especially the way
know.
they're marketing it. So
Right.
I guess my response to that is plastic is a very strong material.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, if it was die cast, we wouldn't have this issue at all. But plastic can be a very, very strong material. And the issue that I have is this actually the part failing, or is this the plastic failing? And the difference there is like, was there something wrong with the plastic that they used? Maybe there's a batch that, you know, had some mixture that went wrong. I don't know. But you know, I've purchased products, consumer products, and you open them up and they just fall apart, and then you get a different one and they're perfectly strong.
Sure.
And that's kind of why we haven't seen that in the overseas batch, right? Like maybe the US batch was made differently, made in a different factory. I don't know. The instructions only say transform into hover mode by pulling out the wheel and flip it towards the direction shown. So nothing really there about like, hey, this shit's gonna break if you do it once. And here with the
Right.
wheels, you know, so there is some important notices about be careful when handling these smaller parts. And then again for the wheel movement. So if this was an issue that is this prevalent, you know, it's almost like Grogu, right? The Hot Toys Grogu had the chins that were splitting.
right, they were breaking. Yeah.
And I always maintained then as well as now that, you know, even if someone didn't read the instructions, the figure should be able to withstand one or, you know, a few activations that are done improperly. I still think it shouldn't have had that issue. But in the instructions they did clarify like, hey, only open it this far, don't leave it in this position. Like they did have that sort of legal ease behind it. Here there's nothing to say like, hey, this part's extremely fragile, or you know, it's very, very bare bones information here. And you know, in a way, I think with the way the InArt's doing it, where they have the videos demonstrating how to use every part of the product, you know,
Sure.
a pretty thorough instructions and do and do not list. I think that could certainly have been relayed to the customers better, but
This is an interesting call out too from Single Songwriter. It should say also does not roll on the box, because it's actually something that I was wondering in terms of where the cracking was showing up on the struts, right?
Yeah.
Like if people are trying to push it forward and it's not really supposed to turn, is that putting kind of unnatural pressure on that joint and causing it to crack? It's hard to know.
I want to say
but
there
I-
was someone that's how they broke theirs. But I don't remember who. I have to go back and look at all the different photos, but I think someone, it was fine and they rolled it and it just
But
snapped
I
in
do
half.
get it. If I had paid
Yeah.
$900 for this thing and it broke on me in 5 seconds, I'd be very pissed too. So I you know, I totally get it. It's a lot of money, you know, especially, you know, with a high-end collectible like this. So, you know, these are supposed to be escapism luxury purchases. So you want shit to actually
Yeah.
work. So I do understand that. I'm just kind of pointing out, you know, we shouldn't just roll over and accept it necessarily. I don't want to say that or indicate that. I just mean that sometimes we accept limitations for Hot Toys in many different ways that we don't even realize. You know, like the seamless bodies, for example. Like this
Terrible.
Ahsoka coming out. You're not really going to be able to pose her that much, because if you do, you're going to break her. So, I don't, this is obviously slightly different, but same principle, right? Even with Bane. Bane's body looks great. Keep him in a dynamic pose for a while and see how great that body looks. So, that, you know what I mean? It's just not, so that's kind of the drawbacks with these type of things. Yes, this is maybe a little bit different. They should have had die-cast parts. I mean, Zach, the more you're talking, it does make sense. Maybe a recall could be effective here, but I don't know. If some people are having the issues, some are not. I don't know. I guess Sideshow would be the one to tell that. If they're getting a lot of returns or exchanges, then they would be the one to make that call, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
definitely.
they'd probably be the one indicating Hot Toys.
Ben, can you check private chat, please? And I wonder how. So, Will, I assume that when Sideshow orders a quantity of Hot Toys, they also either order or are given a quantity for returns, replacements, things are wrong. I wonder how these issues are starting to affect that stock of units that are essentially just there for returns or replacements,
Right.
but also the stock of units that are for people that just ordered it and may be receiving theirs down the line through payment plans or whatnot. I wonder if those are going to get pushed back, if Hot Toys is going to have to go back into production for these and make more to replace. I agree. A lot of people say, well, it's just a vocal minority, and maybe that is true, but it certainly feels like a big issue.
It does, and it's so hard to sort of understand whether we can extrapolate that out and be like, okay, is this a widespread issue, or is this like a 10 to 20 people issue that that they're maybe outspoken and upset, understandably so, but maybe it's not a widespread thing. And it could also be a lot of people are having these issues, they're just not posting about it. Maybe they're not active in the community, maybe they don't even know what these streams are, or maybe they just had it figured out with Sideshow and they didn't feel the need to post it. So it could be, it's so hard to say. Like anytime we see these, it certainly feels like a widespread problem, but it's so hard to say definitively, But I would say that overall, I mean, Ben, I would still maintain positivity with this. Okay. We'll see how it shakes out in hand. Like I said, I've seen some collectors get it without issue. I've seen some get it with major issues. So it's like a roll of the dice, unfortunately. It shouldn't be that way, but you could always cancel it and pay off your Joker instead if you felt sort of unconfident about it.
I mean, either way, I had the money allocated for both. It was just like, which one do I want to pay off first? Maybe I'll get one over the other sooner, right? It's starting to, like the Joker, I've been waiting. I think I put in the order last March, so it's probably one of the longest waits I've ever had for anything in my collection. I usually buy it a little bit closer to release date. I know for some folks out there that's like nothing, like I know you're Loki, even you were waiting what, like 2.5 years for that guy or something crazy. 3 years.
Pennywise too, man, it was a long time.
That is insane. I at that point, even for me, I think my excitement would have started to diminish for sure. But I think the other challenge that I worry about anyways for Hot Toys here, not just with the DeLorean, but is like, what if we get an announcement for that N1 Starfighter that everybody's been asking for, right? When people start seeing QC issues with something like the DeLorean, something that's been really made by them before, like they should have been able to work this stuff out over the last however long. I mean, it's at least 8 years, I think, from the Gen 1 version to the Gen 2. That's nearly a decade of time for them to have been able to kind of make tweaks and find problems with it. But instead, they kind of rushed it out within this last calendar year. And now the hype for Mando is real for people, right? And so if they're like, heck with it, we're going to put out the N1 Starfighter, we showed it, and then they put it out and it has QC issues, like that is going to be a serious sting for Hot Toys and the community's faith in them to be able to produce 6-scale vehicles. On the other hand, it could still happen to any company that's making these, right? I mean, I know InArt has wanted to start looking at 6-scale vehicles as well. There's a lot that goes into it. It makes me wonder if they've really put the time and thought, energy into it, or if it's kind of just like a Hail Mary, like they're just throwing it out there, like we might want to, and they won't because of what they're seeing with these. It's hard to know, because otherwise I also would imagine that if these had die-cast struts, if there was more QC control, would the cost have been higher? Would it have made it a tougher nut to swallow for collectors who are trying to pinch their pennies and allocate them in the right places? I was upset with my Doc Brown. I ended up with 2 Doc Browns, and that poor guy has like 0 resale value on the secondary right now. Like, I've got 2 of them. I don't know what I'm going to do with one of them if I don't end up getting this in hand. So hard to say.
Yeah.
I want to say that I haven't seen. I could be wrong, but I don't think I've seen any like defects with the strut, like the wheels. Obviously, they don't transform, but the wheels on the first DeLorean. I don't think I've heard any of those. And like you said, that figure's been out for 8-10 years already.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, Zach. I haven't really seen that.
Even like Boeing or anything. Like from what I understand, that's a pretty bulletproof figure.
I know you just passed the Tumbler ban. I haven't really heard anything with the Tumbler either.
Nothing
with the Tumbler, the only things I hear is like the little parts are pretty fragile, like the little flaps. But
I've heard the Bat Pod. I've heard that's very
yes,
fragile.
yeah.
But the Tumbler, yeah. I kind of want to get the Tumbler. I don't know. Kind of thinking about it.
So weren't you?
I've
You were
always wanted
on the
the Tumbler.
fence with the Tumbler for a while.
I've
and
been on the
then
fence.
You
for
got
a
off
while.
the fence.
Yeah.
Right?
Now I'm back on the
You're kinda-
fence.
You're kind of back on.
So yep. I'm just waiting for a discount, and Sideshow hasn't really hit us with a major discount on this one yet, on this boy. So I'm waiting for one, and yeah, I also have to factor in, like all of us do, space. I mean, this is going to take up the room of maybe 3 to 4 figures, something like that. So you have to factor in: do I want 3 to 4 figures, or do I want a big vehicle? But I do have a Dark Knight display. I mean, I got the 2-pack rooted Joker. I got Two-Face. I'm actually waiting to get Batman. I'm waiting for InArt to do their Batman. I'm just going to be patient. And yeah, have a Dark Knight display. So yeah, I mean, if I get the Tumbler now, I have no Batman to go with it. So so it's
I was going to ask you, did you get the Batman Begins? Because I know
No.
Lael had some issues with it. A lot of other people have had just issues with the accuracy of the figure, which is unfortunate, right?
I had
But-
the DX19 at one point, but I sold it because I was like, well, I'm going to wait for InArt. What'd you say, Zach? It's bad.
I want it so bad. I want it so bad.
Oh yeah, it's a good
no,
figure.
It's not.
I mean, I
It
liked
looks
it.
great.
Yeah, I liked it. It's a good figure, but I just was like, I'm gonna kind of wait for InArt on this one, and we'll see. But now I'm starting to maybe. And my logic was, okay, if I sell this now, I can sell it. I think I sold it for like $250. I could go back and buy it for that right now, pretty much. So if I want to do that, I can, because InArt is being pretty slow right now. Like they're announcing stuff
Yeah.
very slowly. So I'm gonna have to determine, especially if I get the Tumbler, do I want to wait 5 years to get a Batman? That's something people are gonna have to decide.
Let me ask you this, Ben, or Will, just as a thought experiment. Let's say you get your DeLorean, you transform it, and you can display it with the wheels, in that second film orientation, but the struts crack. Okay, and Sideshow offers you a gift card to keep it. What are we talking is an amount that you feel comfortable keeping a broken unit, or if you articulate it, oh shit, there's stress marks already. What do we, because like I said, some people getting $100 gift card offers. For me, I'm talking like $300 gift card to keep it with a broken unit, because I think down the line, if you try to sell it, I don't think you're getting anywhere close to 825 if it's a known broken
Right.
model.
I to me, it would take more than that, I feel like, but they're probably not going to give you that, because if it's broken and I really want to use that hover mode, then I just have to accept I paid $600 for something that's broken. So, and again, Zach, if you ever say you wanted to move on from collecting at some point, or had a change in what you collect and you want to sell it, good luck. I mean, because it's broken, so you might be able to sell it for $600, but maybe you can get what you paid, but then you got, it opens up a whole can of worms, is my point. And that's
The question is, because if Sideshow tells Ben, hey, it's broken, we can pay to send it back, and then on our dime, sending it back and sending it to you,
right.
I mean, imagine that's a couple $100 right there, right? And then let's say they have to do it again. I mean, I'm thinking, like, what's the limit here, right? Like, are they offering, is it possible to get a $300-$400 gift card? Because I almost think even then it would be cheaper for them, right? Than having to send out multiples.
Well, they might get a discount on shipping. That's what I'm wondering. If they get that
they
discount,
they don't fucking pay it to us.
No, they don't. They don't
Yeah,
pay it forward to us. No, but but I think they probably
full
do.
price, bro.
Yeah, I know.
So
We're paying full price. So that's
think
probably
the
how they make
challenge-
some of their profits. But
I think the challenge for me was I wasn't totally sure, like, despite it being able to do this, I wasn't totally sure this was going to be the ultimate way that I displayed it. I still like it in car mode, but I would say the ability to change it into the hover mode like this is at least 1/4 of the reason that I was excited for this vehicle, right? I wasn't going to have to worry about a conversion kit down the line like some folks have. I know Brother Cousins, he modded his first Gen 1 version with some of those aftermarket kits that you could get. I think, like, that's really cool that they were able to do that. I think for this though, like part of the selling feature of this was that it could look like a Gen 1 or Gen 2 depending on your imagination. So like a quarter of the cost, at least a quarter of the reason that I want it. But even then, I don't resell very often, but I'd even be worried about its ability to stand upright on its wheels if it's got a broken strut.
100%.
Right? Because so then will it look wonky even in car mode? Like it's hard to know. I think I honestly think I would return it and just want the money back. I'd probably take the hit on the customs like you guys said, and if I do, and if that all happens, I'll let everybody know, because I mean I know obviously I'm not the only collector who collects in Canada or other countries. That's pretty difficult to have to worry about. So
one thing that's kind of interesting to me also, Ben. So the wheels they're not designed to roll, right? You can damage your figure that way. And I think they're made of rubber. So what can happen with models like this, over time, you'll get flat spots on the wheels. And, typically, if you were displaying a model like this, there's two ways that you can get around that. You obviously pick it up, then rotate the wheel a bit, put it back down, so that you're kind of spreading that wear on the tire. Other people I've seen also, they will create some sort of structure beneath the car where the wheels are touching the ground, but the weight is actually being held by this, piece beneath it. I would almost say that's probably going to be something that a lot of people might want to consider, because you can't spin the wheels to spread that wear on it.
That's a really smart call. That's fair. I think it's super disappointing that there's this much controversy around this release. I gotta say,
we were so happy when it was released.
We were
so happy. It looked awesome.
John was the only one that was still mad, but like that's sometimes a little funny to watch. So like I was okay with that, but I'm still gonna get it. Either way, it's paid off. I just gotta pay the shipping. I'm gonna get it in hand. I'm hoping, cross fingers and toes, that I'm that one person or one of the people out there that doesn't have the QC challenges. I think I will be happy with it either way, because I mean, it's that or this didn't exist, and I still wanted a DeLorean in my collection. And out here in Canada, I think they were getting close to like $3,000 for the first gen run. Like,
jeez,
yeah, they were getting really like aggressively high. So I don't think that would have been a smart decision either. At least this is a much lower cost version. I am curious what we're going to see from future, not necessarily with the Tumbler, because again, most people have that in hand now, but with the newly done Batmobile, I should say, from the Keatonverse. Like, it's hard to say still with kind of what they're showing us if that's a straight reissue or if they've done some tweaks, but it sounds like the first gen version of that car didn't have a ton of issues, and so I'd be surprised if they really changed it at all. Like, if it wasn't broke, don't fix it, but that's also not necessarily great, because it's all these years later. You would expect to see some upgrades on that model at this point. So yeah. I guess it does remain to be seen. Switching topics a little bit, because we're getting to the end of the stream here. I don't want to take too much more of your time. Will, feel free to jump off whenever you need to, and Zach as well. Like, thank you guys for coming. It does mean a lot. I really appreciate it. I was curious, what is one pre-order you guys have in process or in progress at the moment that you're most excited for? Because I gotta say, mine is Peacemaker. With the John Cena, the way that they changed him, I've been actually really, really excited to get my Peacemaker in hand. And I haven't got any updates on him, but between Peacemaker and my Darth Vader, from Hot Toys anyways, it's going to be a good couple months. Like, Sideshow's website is terrible.
They're not going to show it to you because it's waitlisted. That's why.
Oh, because it's waitlisted.
Yeah, you might type it into Google or something. If you type it into Google. But you're right. Sideshow, sometimes you'll look up something and it'll just not be there. You'll type it into Google and it'll just pop right up. And you're like, dude, what the hell?
Yeah. You hate to see it. But what about you, Will? What's one figure you got coming that you are most excited for?
Dude,
let's see if I can find
it. I am so excited, dude, for everything that I have on pre-order, because I have been so selective with my pre-orders nowadays, man. It's a tough bar to cross to make that pre-order window for me. So for me, I guess predictably, I would say the InArt Pennywise, because I'm super, super excited for that one. That actually should be the next release if we're following by announcement to release, because Joker was the first one, and then Pennywise was the second one, and then Gandalf after that, from my recollection. So it should be those three in order. Who knows when Pennywise will actually show up? I'm hoping for Q2 this year sometime. I guess we'll find out. Really excited for that, Ben. I cannot wait, bro. And yeah, man, there's a bunch of other stuff too. Cad Bane, I'm really excited about. I'm that should be, I think, Q2 to Q3 of this year. Hot Toys Cad Bane. The second, dude, I was so excited for that. I hardly even pre-order Hot Toys anymore. I honestly don't recommend people pre-order Hot Toys, but for Cad Bane, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it because I want to get it. That Darth Vader I'm excited for. I have not pre-ordered, but I guaranteed we'll buy that. Aragorn, of course. Inard Aragorn. That's a big one. So I hope Zach's getting that one, but I guess we'll see.
No doubt.
I'm not.
Everything
What? It's too expensive.
Dude, it's a work of art, Zach. It's not too expensive.
Yeah, if I bought every work of art that I saw, I'd fucking have no money left.
You'd have a great
I'd have more
collection.
than 5 Hot Toys. Yeah, I there is a figure that I don't have on pre-order that I do want to pre-order. The Crosshair. I think it looks great. Real leather on some of the the parts that should be leather. They're real leather. That is going to be a pre-order here very soon. Honestly, the pre-order that I have that I'm most excited for is actually not 1/6. It's the Mezco 1/12, the Batman, the Pattinson one. That was, I think that may have been the last day one pre-order I've ever done, other than the Inar Gandalf and the Gandalf the White. But the figure looks great. Supposedly it's coming out in April. I don't think that that's possible because their 89 Batman took 3 years to come out. So people laugh when I said, "Oh, is this still coming out?" I actually have 2 of them on pre-order because I just love the different display options. And then I have the 1/10 scale Hot Wheels Batmobile, which is a fucking steal at $100. And I'm gonna try to make a nice shelf display with the highest quality Batman I think out there, plus the highest quality Batmobile in that scale. So should be fun. But yeah, so as far as 1/6, I'll pre-order the Crosshair, but I don't think I have anything else on pre-order.
That's fair. Big Bretta in the chat, one of the big celebs in the community. Thanks for stopping in, Joao. I appreciate you for sure. He says, "Congrats on the first year, bro. All the best. DeLorean Gate is real. It absolutely is."
Yeah,
I
want that to be a hashtag this week in the community.
I
DeLorean Gate.
love Joao's accent because whenever
I do too,
whenever I see him and I'm like, "Hey
Just
man,
love
how
him.
are you? Like, good to see you. Like, how you doing?" And he's like, "Everything is fine." And I was like, very matter of fact, and it just makes me laugh every time. He needs an "Everything is fine" sticker on his channel,
Yeah.
coined from the Ben Thomas Show. But thanks for stopping in, man. We also did, I mentioned earlier here, we got Riley reviews in the chat. I did send everybody links, but again, very, very last minute stream today. So thanks to everybody that jumped in.
Yeah.
I'll plan them better for the next time to make sure I'm not on top of anybody there. But guys, that is actually all the subjects that I brought with me today. I don't want to cross over Will's stream. Everybody that's watching today, you already know, let's be honest, Will Foxification is having his stream this afternoon, so make sure you tune in there. I will be in the chats as well. Will, do you have anything else coming up that you want to tell us a little bit about?
Dude,
Good sir?
thank you so much for having me, Ben. I appreciate it. Even last minute, bro. Happy to be here, man. And yeah, so I have the live stream in about an hour, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm working on my Shang-Chi review, so that's in progress. I already recorded the voiceover and edited all that, so I just got to put the footage in there. So that should be sometime this week over the next couple of days. Then I did a top 5 most underrated Hot Toys in my collection, working on that as well. So yep, that and clips and all the usual stuff. But thanks for having me, bro. Happy for you, hitting 1K, 1.2K, upwards and onwards, bro.
Thank you, good sir. Thank
Yeah,
you.
man.
Yes, tune in. If you're not subscribed to Will, definitely do so. Let's be honest, most of us probably already are, but if you are not, definitely check that out. Mr. Zach from Collecting Weekly. I'm gonna see you on Tuesday night, good sir. It's coming up.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go deep into this DeLorean thing. We'll talk about some of the photos that we showed today, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be. The thing about us is we're equal opportunity roasters, I guess. I'm not a Hot Toys fanboy. I'm not an art fan. Like if any of these companies anywhere, Jazz Inc., anyone anywhere has an issue, we're gonna talk about it objectively. We're gonna be respectful, but
Yeah.
this is bad, and I hope that the rest of our streaming peers also take this seriously, because it's just not good for the consumer, man. It's not good. It doesn't bode confidence for these big projects coming forward like the N1 or anything else. So, but no, yeah, we don't have anything different this week. It's the same stuff. We did a Ox PD last night, and it was one of the funniest things I think we've ever done. I couldn't stop laughing.
I haven't seen it
was
yet,
incredible.
but it's one of my Sunday afternoon flavors. It's one of those things that I
took
like
two
gaming
of those,
myself
like-
and just watching. Hilarious.
I took 2 of those like CBD gummies. I was fucking
That's
in
amazing.
Narnia, bro. I was like driving off fucking crooked and shit, doing like 10-point turns.
Bro,
It's terrible.
I need
bro,
more
but
of
I
Zach
was-
and Dean in Red Dead.
No doubt.
'Cause-
No doubt.
We will. So that's the problem. We have 2 shows that
show's
everyone likes for the video game thing. So it's hard to like. If we do one, then there's the crowd that's, oh, I wanted this one. We do the other one,
Right.
it's the crowd that wants the other one. So we're trying to work them all together. We had our D&D finale last Saturday. It was fantastic. For those that watch D&D, it was really fun. And yeah, just the regular stuff. Tuesday it'll be 8:30, and we'll be talking about a bunch of stuff, you know. And we're also reviewing the 92 Batman Returns, so be fun. Be
Good.
very fun.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, congrats, Ben. I'm proud of you, bud.
I'm
you,
excited.
Me too, bro.
You started a year ago. I think I was probably like your 4th subscriber
Yeah.
because I had slept in that day that you started your channel, and it's been great watching you grow as a streamer, as a content creator. You know, you've helped out our channel, and you've kind of shown me some new tips and tricks with like shorts and stuff. So yeah, I'm very proud of you, Ben. You've grown a lot in a year, so keep up the good
Thanks,
work,
man.
bud.
Thanks, man. You know what? I think my favorite part is honestly making all the great friends that I've
Oh,
made. I
yeah.
know that sounds super corny to say, but it's actually 100% true. There was definitely at one point where Shauna was sick of seeing me every day, and she was like, "You need to go and make more friends." And then I started YouTube.
You've
and I
made too
started-
many friends now.
I
Yeah,
know. Well,
no,
now I
yeah.
hang out with you guys so often. She's like, "Hey, like, when are we gonna get a little time back ourselves?" Right? So I'm like, "Okay, it's all about the balance." I did get one more super chat from Alvin J. Once again, that's his 3rd super chat this stream. So, Alvin, you are too generous, good sir. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. Definitely not required, but I appreciate it. What's coming up on my channel? I am absolutely going to do another collection tour here soon. I have to get the 2.0 out. I've been kind of waiting to get the DeLorean and then my Jokers, my in-art Jokers, but if they're going to be out for a little while still, I might just do it sooner than that. There is a new Toys R Us store here that just opened, brand new location, so I want to go take a look in that location as well very soon for a little toy tour. May do that live. I've never done those live before. I've always done them pre-recorded. Might be kind of fun to shop with some of the folks in the chat. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, definitely let me know. But in terms of the channel, otherwise, stay tuned. We've got lots of shorts coming up, lots of unboxings coming. I'm going to give you guys my real take as much as I can. I plan to do more live streams. I will try to plan them better for everybody out there. So stay tuned. Keep your eye posted for that if you can. And with that said, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, guys. I love your faces. I love everybody in the chat. You guys are all the best. This is the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll catch you on the next one.